This lecture is about the order to cash process in ERP system, specifically considering the SAP system. And in the previous lecture, I talked about procure to pay cycle, and the procure to pay cycle dealt with the requirement of the material which happened in the production, or which can happen in while the execution of a project, or which can even happen for the requirement of a sales order or a customer order, which we will talk in the order to cash. So what happened was, when the any requirement was identified as part of a project or production, the specific requisition could be created, then the vendor could be identified based on the request for quotation, then the purchase order could purchase order could be created, and once the invoice was received, and the invoice was received, finally the vendor could be paid. So that was the procure to pay process. And the next process which deals with the customer, the procure to pay process dealt with the vendor, and now the order to cash process will deal with the customer. So this is a part of the sales team or the sales and distribution department in the ERP systems. So each and every company will either provide any kind of service. Most of the companies will provide any kind of service, or they will provide some kind of products which they are going to sell. So there will be a CRM team in most of the so the order to cash cycle will usually begin with a customer inquiry, and it will deal with the sales of the product or service which any organization is having. So the customer inquiry will be usually being handled by the CRM team. So the customer can do an inquiry based on any type, like they can send an inquiry through a mail, they can send an inquiry through a telephone call to the company's concerned department, or through the different channels for the marketing. There could be an inquiry or an order, or from the different stores or outlets, like for a car manufacturing company, you could place the order for a car from the showroom itself. So that's an example of how a customer order could be, or a customer inquiry could be created. Once a customer will send you an inquiry, usually in ERP systems, what will happen is that the customer will be created in the system as customer master data. Once the customer has contacted you, you will take the details of the customer and you will create a customer record as a customer master data or a business partner in the ERP system. And in that, you will maintain details of the customer, like his address, his billing details, etc. And once the inquiry has happened from the customer, and you have created all the relevant data from the CRM system, what you could do is that you could send quotation to the customer based on the inquiry. And there could be some negotiation happening, like for products or services which are large, the budget in the range of lakhs and crores. There could be negotiation phase which could last a long time, like weeks or months, before the finalization of the order happens. And while you are doing the negotiation phase, you can send the quotation to the customer, and the quotation can be sent based on the number of people who will work for the project, or the number of, or the billing of the equipments or the materials which you are going to use, plus the production cost, etc. You can calculate that using the project system or the project modules in the ERP system, and based on that you could send the quotation to the customer. And once the customer is finalizing on the quotation and is ready to buy your product or service, an order can be created, and that order is usually in the form of a sales order in ERP system. So sales order is the next step after customer inquiry or sales inquiry which happens. Once you have required the sales order, there could be multiple scenarios, like the product which or the service could be already there with you, or there is no product with you. So based on the sales order, you'll have to manufacture the product. or if you are in the resale industry, like you could be taken an order and you could be giving that to somebody else, or you will be procuring the product and you will be selling that to the customer. So based on that different scenario and the one which links with the project, like you could, based on the sales order, there could be a order to which could happen. So based on the make to order production, suppose for a large equipment manufacturer, which is a big truck which is going to be manufactured, for a big truck which is for which you have got an order, and that order has certain, the truck is very expensive to manufacture and keep in the warehouse, so you will manufacture it only based on an order which you receive. And the other case is that, addition to that, is that there are certain customer specific additions which you do to the truck, like the enhancements are very specific to the requirement. So for such kind of requirement, usually there is a make to order. So once you receive the order, the production of the product will start, and once the order is received, there will be procurement process happening to procure the products which is required to manufacture that product. So that will happen in the backend as part of the procure to pay cycle. So again, these are the scenarios which will happen after the sales order is getting generated. And once the sales order is generated and you have the material with you, or you have produced the material as part of the production, the next step will be to deliver the material, and that is the delivery will happen after that. So you will have the shipment process to ship the equipment or material or the product, or deliver the service to the customer or the client. Delivery is also known as goods issue in SAP terminology, and usually there are transaction codes which will deal with the creation of a sales inquiry, creation of sales order, and delivery of the good. And finally, after the goods has been delivered and the customer has confirmed the delivery, there will be a payment process, like an invoice will be sent to the customer and the payment will be received. The payment can be in the form of the check, or it can be directly bank transfer to the company's account. So there will be specific payment methods which will be associated with each customer master you create. So this is the whole process of how an order to cash scenario will work in an ERP system, and it will be integrated with the other departments like the materials management, the production, the project team, and the warehouse management team, and it will also impact the finance and the controlling. So that's all. If you like this video, please do subscribe. Also to watch other videos in the series to learn more about the ERP systems and the ERP business processes.